In 1995, a completely healthy, successful executive walked into a meeting and agreed to a project he knew would ruin his career. He didn't want to do it. His brain was screaming no, but his mouth said yes. Why? Today we are asking the question millions whisper in the dark. Why do I feel like a puppet? And more importantly, who is actually holding the strings? Here is what most videos will not tell you. Most people who feel like puppets learned the feeling early, very early. Imagine a child. Every time they cry, they are told to stop. Every time they say no, they are punished. Every time they express a different opinion, they meet silence or anger. That child learns a devastating lesson. My feelings are wrong. My voice is dangerous. To be safe, I must let someone else decide what I think and want. Psychologists call this conditional acceptance. The child learns to cut their own strings and hand them to others. They become experts at reading faces and suppressing themselves. By adulthood, they don't even know they're doing it. They say yes when they mean no. They feel like a puppet because they were trained to be one. The puppet master may be long gone, a parent, a teacher, a bully, but the strings remain. This is the first truth. If you feel like a puppet, look at your childhood. Not to blame, to understand. But childhood is not the only answer. Even people with healthy upbringings can feel like puppets, because puppet masters are everywhere. The manipulative partner. They do not yell, they withdraw affection when you displease them. They make you feel their happiness is your responsibility. You walk on eggshells. You perform. You are not a partner, you are a puppet. The controlling boss. They praise obedience and punish questions. Your survival depends on their approval. You work late. You nod when you disagree. The paycheck is the string. Societal expectations. Get married, buy a house, look a certain way. Society does not need to shout. Your brain, desperate for belonging, pulls its own strings to fit in. You're not living your life. You're performing someone else's script. Psychologists call this external locus of control. It means you believe forces outside you decide your life. And when you believe that, you're right. You become a puppet. Not because you have to, because you handed over the strings. Here's a twist. Sometimes the puppet master is not out there, it's in here. Your inner critic, that voice that says you are not good enough, so you look to others for validation. You ask 10 people for their opinion before trusting your own. You're not being controlled by them, you're controlled by the voice inside that says their opinion matters more than yours. Your fear of rejection. Thousands of years ago, being rejected from the tribe meant death. Today, your brain still treats rejection like a survival threat. So you agree, you comply, you laugh at the joke. Not because you want to, because your ancient brain screams, do not risk rejection. That fear pulls your strings. Your shame. Shame is the most powerful puppet master. Shame says you are flawed. If people really knew you, they would leave. So you hide, you perform. You become what everyone needs you to be. You are not living, you are surviving, and survival always feels like being a puppet because you've stopped choosing and started reacting. So how do you stop feeling like a puppet? Ask this question slowly. Ask it honestly. What do I actually want? Not what your parents want, not your partner, not your boss, not society. Strip away every voice that's not yours. What is left? For most people who feel like puppets, that question is terrifying. Because they've never asked it. They've spent years answering what others want. They've forgotten they even have a want of their own. Start small. Not, what career do I want? That's too big. Start with, what do I want for dinner? Not, what do I want to do with my life? Start with, what do I want to watch tonight? Small choices, low stakes. You're not cutting all strings at once. You are growing new muscles. The muscle of choosing. The muscle of trusting yourself, the muscle of hearing your own voice above the noise. Feeling like a puppet is not your fault. If you were trained to hand over your strings, that is not a failure. It is a survival strategy that once kept you safe. But here is the truth you need to hear. You are not a child anymore. The people who once held your strings no longer have power unless you give it to them. The voice that says you are not enough, that voice is lying. The fear of rejection is trying to protect you, but it is also trapping you. Cutting the strings is not one big dramatic moment. It is thousands of tiny ones. Saying no when you mean no, choosing what you actually want for dinner, trusting your own opinion. Every small choice is a snip of the scissors. Keep snipping. One day you'll look down and realize the strings are gone. You were never born to be a puppet. You only forgot that you had hands. If this hit home, like and subscribe to WhyLogik for more psychology breakdowns. And comment below, who or what has been holding your strings?